Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So the whole Meghan and Harry debacle, the discussion is just ablaze online and people are hitting out left, right and centre for and against and for. You guys know where I stand with this. I still feel as though this is hyped up gossip. I still feel as though there was a lot of loose ends that were left untied that could not, therefore, in my personal opinion, allow me to substantiate that Meghan and Harry are two really hard done by victims, and victims of the firm and victims of the British press in a major way. Now, I know a lot of the sugars and a lot of the leftist woke people are going to come on my channel and they're going to drag me in the comments and they're going to say, what kind of person is running this channel? Well, my answer to you guys is I'm a black woman. I am a black British woman. I was born in the UK. Yes, I have experienced firsthand racism as a woman of a darker skin toned complexion. Maybe I should put that in the video. And I've watched this story unfold and I still feel the same way. If you spend that much money and you have that much money thrown at you and you have that much elevation and you consciously entered into what is publicly worldwide known, whether you want to pretend you know about or pretend that you knew about the royal firm or not, something that has always traditionally been an all-white firm, and you expect to not experience any kind of untoward comments or pushback or references in the media, that makes you somewhat quite delusional. And that's how I personally feel about this whole Meghan and Harry debacle. Yes, I do think that comments of ignorance possibly could have been said, but they don't sound as malicious as racism that I've experienced in my real direct life, which would have been direct racism, because we have to define what racism is and exactly how it manifests itself. And racism that is harming and damaging to the subconscious mind and to the psyche and has a lasting impact. Someone saying, oh, I wonder what colour your baby could be. It could be of a darker skin tone. It could be, if I was pregnant tomorrow from a Caucasian man, which, you know, I'm single, but if I was pregnant tomorrow from a Caucasian man, I would possibly be having some kind of discussion about its skin tone. Is it going to be more darker complexion like me, or is it going to be of a lighter hue? Is it going to possibly have a genetic throwback whereby my baby has blue eyes or green eyes or whatever? Or is it just going to have dark brown eyes? Will it have ginger hair? Will it have blonde hair? When it comes to the topic of race, anything is possible when you are having a child of mixed origin. Why would that be automatically, and this is just in my personal opinion, deemed as a racist speculation? Like, oh my god, this is racist, this is wrong. Because they didn't specifically say, oh, if baby Archie comes out too darker skin toned like yourself, Meghan, and let's face it, Meghan looks Spanish, he's not going to be, I don't know, he's not going to be good. It was just a speculative comment. That's what comes across to me, and the fact that they cannot substantiate who actually said it makes it even worse as opposed to better. Because if they was to go into this interview and actually be like, right, we're just going to drop the ball here, we're going to let everyone know specifically who said what, instead of leaving it in this unanswered kind of airy-fairy way, then quite possibly we could have had some more clarity on this, but they haven't. So this French royal expert, and the French do get a hard time, they do get dragged in the fashion industry by the way in which they treat the darker skin tone models compared to the lighter skin tone models. But nonetheless, I'm going to go into this article. So it's titled, Meghan and Harry are out of line and should get some perspective. Sussex is torn apart. A French royal expert has torn apart Prince Harry and Meghan's Oprah interview, saying he finds it difficult to feel sympathy for the couple given their extravagant lifestyle and staggering wealth, which is true. I mean, they've got all of this money. They have this massive house. They are signing deals left, right and centre. She sits around in dresses worth £5,000. That's an entire month's income for a lot of people. And she's moaning and complaining. And let's face it, she could not afford to live this lifestyle before she got into the firm. So why didn't she be grateful about that? The lack of gratitude from this couple is astounding. And I think that they really summarize what it is to be pampered, spoiled, and extremely privileged. Privilege is when you don't recognize that you're privileged. Do they not realize that people have real issues going on right now? People actually can't feed their children. People are going to food banks. People are starving. People have lost their jobs in India where the factories have shut down because we've stopped producing as much fast fashion, because we're simply not consuming as much products, because we're not going out as much. Do they not think of that? Or is it all about them? Oh, someone said something about what colour the baby's going to be. Someone said, I mean, really, who cares? Who actually cares? Now, I don't ever really touch on Meghan Markle's whole mental health revelation because I just don't know. That's the truth. I factually do not know if she really was going through that stuff, and I'm not going to deny it. Mental health is a very serious thing. As I said, it's not a joke, and when you're pulling on sources like that, mental health, miscarriages, all of these sorts of contentious things, and you're putting it out there in a public forum, there's not a lot people can really say. But what I can say is that the sense of entitlement and the privilege is gastronomically directly shoved in our faces, because at a time like this, when people are a lot of the times financially strapped for cash, in many cases, you would think that they'd be a bit more sensitive. And then leaving the interview with all of this kind of mystery and guessing that's now going on as to what specific member of the family is racist has now even jeopardized the work of the Queen regarding the Commonwealth, which is a multiracial organisation and construct that has done a lot of good work in the world. So I'm going to carry on a bit more regarding what he said. So Stefan Byrne, a journalist specialising in nobility and royalty, suggested the Duke and Duchess of Sussex were out of place when he gave the bombshell interview during a worldwide pandemic. Harry and Meghan sent shockwaves through the royal family when they claimed an unnamed family member had made racist comments about their son Archie. The Duchess also claimed Buckingham Palace aides had failed to take her mental health problems seriously when she was a working royal. In an interview with French magazine Madame Figaro, Mr. Byrne said the couple would have been better to air their grievances privately to family members instead of telling the whole world. Exactly. That's it. If they didn't want to cause damage and if they didn't want to knock people and make people look bad, then they shouldn't have done this interview publicly. I don't think that their grievances were significant enough to tell millions and millions of people, because according to them, they never even got paid for it. So you didn't get paid for it. You've now put your family in a very crappy position. And I want to say the word SHI and you know what, but you've put them in a very crap position and you didn't get any money for it, and it wasn't intense deep stuff because it's over. You know, there was no ball and chain around either of their ankles. They walked free. In fact, they flew free. They jumped on private planes and left. They left. So what was the point of the whole interview? Because I actually still don't understand what the point was. It's not as though the world asked them for an explanation, unless it was regarding their brand deals and they want to come off as victims so they can then become major celebrities so they can have an impact around the world. That's the only point I can see, which is all self-serving in order to get more and more and more cash. So he continues on to say, I don't like the idea of making confessions on television while attacking English newspapers on the pretext that they are talking about your private life. I also find it a bit out of place to do this when there are millions of people passing around the world, you know, to the other side, up to heaven. The UK is one of the most affected countries by the pandemic, and Prince Philip is in hospital. The complaints of this couple seem completely out of line and perspective compared to the world in which we live. With their 12-bedroom home, 14-bathroom villa, I find it hard to cry over their story and the fights between Meghan and Kate over the bridesmaids' dresses. He was referring to the argument between Meghan and the Duchess of Cambridge over the dresses for the flower girls, including Princess Charlotte for the Sussexes' May 2018 wedding. Months after the nuptials, palace insiders claimed Meghan had made Kate cry during a spat over the dresses, but in her interview with Oprah, Meghan claimed, "Oh no, it's the other way around, she made me cry." I mean, how childish is this? So it goes on to say here, and Mr. Byrne appeared to be equally sceptical when it came to Meghan's story about being denied access to psychological help by the palace. Mr. Byrne continued, as for her, wanting to take herself out and go up to heaven tendencies, she reveals that the palace did not help her, but if I suffered from psychological problems, I would call a shrink or a specialist, not my employer. Of course, I can understand how she felt, because being a princess is about sacrifice. Maybe no one explained to her what her role and obligations would be. He added, she complains that she was left alone in her corner and didn't get the lead when she turned down everything offered to her. And it goes on and on and on here. And I agree with him wholeheartedly. There's a lot more important things going on without listening to the whole debacle of Meghan and Harry and the dresses and these comments about art. It's all just kind of like unnecessary stuff. There's more important things going on in the world, and it does really highlight how indulged and how spoiled Harry and Meghan have been. And I know that the leftist woke crowd are going to come on my page and they're going to tear me apart. This is just how I personally feel about it. And with that, I'm going to conclude the video. I'm probably going to read out some of you guys' comments for the next one to share with everyone, give you guys a platform for how you feel and what people are generally saying. So I'll be back for another video. Bye, guys.